Okay.
Good.
All right. Um, Hello, guys. My name is John Reyes. I'm a senior here at RX Paris High School. Um, and I'm going to be speaking about why I'm here and what got me to the school. So I'm just going to make it really short and quick. Between the ages 13 and 16, I was involved in gang activity. Um, my involvement in gang activity led me to be distracted in my education. So I was distracted in school. I didn't really like school. I hated school. I never really used to go. In seventh grade, I got expelled from Los Angeles Unified District. So after seventh grade, I was almost never in school. I tried to get back. I had to prove myself, and I had to show them that I'm eligible to get back. I felt like I didn't have to prove myself to the district, to anybody, that I've changed, that I've become a better person. So I never did. In eighth grade, I dropped out of middle school, like just completely dropped out. I stopped going. I was actually getting in trouble for not going, but I didn't care. Um, I dropped out of middle school in eighth grade. I didn't go to school for 3 years. Um, so due to the fact that I was no longer going to school, I started hanging out with the gang. Um, so every day I would go hang out with my friends, homies, whatever you want to call them. Every day I would go hang out with them. I didn't really pay much attention to school anymore. I was more focused on the gang and my homies and what we were gonna do, and we were smoking and what homies do, right? I'm sure you guys know. When you guys hang out with your friends, I don't know what you guys do, but we were doing maybe stuff that kids my age don't normally do. So I was hanging around with a gang. I brought that influence into school. So every day when I was in school, I was vandalizing school property. I was hanging around in big groups. I was fighting a lot, and almost every day, my mom had to get called out of work just to go show her face at my school. It was embarrassing for me because I know my mom. She works very hard. She works 9 to 5. She wakes up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, gets ready, goes to work, trying to provide for my brothers and sisters. I have 4 brothers and 2 sisters. There's 8 of us total, including myself. So it was embarrassing to me because my mom had to get called out of work to just go and show her face up for me. Just for me, nobody else. It was me. I was always getting into trouble. And so it was embarrassing because my mom had to come out of work, and while she was trying to provide for my brothers and sisters, and I'm taking away, time, and I'm taking away, I'm taking away her time, so it was just, it was really embarrassing, but at the time I didn't know, I didn't really care. I was still focused on hanging around, being cool, having friends, having respect. So that's really all that mattered to me. Um, going back to uh, Going back to the gang, I dropped out of eighth grade. I started hanging around with the gang more. I got at 14. I got jumped into the gang. It was really rough for me. I was going through a lot. I was going through family problems. I was going through depression. I had a lot of anxiety. Nobody really noticed. My mom wouldn't really talk to me. She was busy working. My dad was also busy working. I wouldn't see my parents till late afternoon until they got back from work. And most of the time I wasn't even home. I was with my friends, so I wouldn't even talk to my parents until maybe they had a day off or something. I wouldn't speak to my parents. So my mom, my dad, they didn't know my involvement in the gang. They didn't really know what was going on. Um, I they were at some point. I felt like my mom and my dad. I lost touch with them. I felt like I was no longer their son. I felt like they got tired of me, always getting into trouble. Them always getting phone calls to work or phone calls to their phone, having to tell them, hey, you have to come to the school. Your son's been misbehaving. So it was a rough time for me. It was a rough time. I lived in an area where there was gang infested. No more than like 3 blocks, it would be a different neighborhood. So every few blocks there's a different gang. So you're in Los Angeles, you're infested with that kind of environment. So I grew up around it, and I grew up, influenced. I got influenced into joining a gang and being cool, having the respect you see most gang members do. Um, So I did that for a while. I was eventually involved in more criminal activity. I was carrying around a gun with me. Was selling drugs, and I'm at a very young age. I was 13 years old, 14 years old, and I'm doing stuff that maybe some of you haven't experienced or even been through or even seen. So it's not normal. It's not normal for a kid my age. And so I was doing that, and unfortunately, at 14 years old, I witnessed my friend getting killed. He got shot right in front of me. He got shot once, and unfortunately, he passed away. He died in my arms. It was a really rough time for me. Um, it wasn't a wake up call for me. It was just more like, okay, I wasn't walking around with a gun at the time. I wasn't walking around with anything. I was just walking around, vandalizing, the community. I was tagging on walls, all you can think of. I've done it. So when my friend passed away, that's when I realized, okay, my friend passed away. We didn't have, a way to protect ourselves. So I felt that I needed a gun. I felt that by me carrying a gun, me holding a gun, I would feel more safe. I would feel more respected. Made me more of a man. But it didn't. I'm gonna tell you right now, it didn't. It didn't bring any of that. It just brought more problems to myself. Um, I ended up going to my friend's funeral home. We held his funeral at a funeral home. I took a break from the funeral home. I stepped outside to take a quick smoke, and as I'm smoking, cops start to approach me. Sheriff, they start to approach me, and because I'm smoking, I'm already paranoid, so I start running. As I start running, they chase right after me at gunpoint. They're able to catch up. They already have me at gunpoint. They start investigating. They see me toss something, so they start looking for whatever it is I tossed. They end up finding it. I'm already in the behind of a cop car. I'm already inside the cop car. So they come up to me and they tell me, yeah, well, we found the gun and you are not being charged with this. So I got charged with possession of a deadly firearm and as well as gang enhancement. At the time, I didn't know how serious the charges were. I already knew they were felonies. I just didn't know, okay, how it would impact, my life and my teenage years.
And John, you don't mind me asking, you were 14 when it?
I was between 13 and 16, so I wasn't even over 14 yet. I was still between the ages 13 and 14.
Okay.
So that ended up happening when I got detained. I was sent to juvenile hall. I've been to all three of them in Los Angeles County. I've been to East Lake, I've been to Selmore, and I've been to Los Padrinos. I've been to all three of them, so I've been in the system for quite a while. I was actually sentenced to a 5 to 7 month camp program. That 5 to 7 month camp program ended up turning into a 2-year sentence. I kept going to court. I kept getting refiled on. They kept adding more time due to the fact that I was fighting. And because my involvement in the gang, of course, you're in an environment where there's other gang members, and there's you may have rival gang members or just other gang members from different neighborhoods. So they were they were asking me where I'm from, and me wanting respect, or having the respect, and the I felt like I was in power. I would let them know where I was from, and that would lead to problems. It would lead to fights. It would lead to me getting more time at it. So I ended up getting 2 years. That was final. So I was in the system for quite a while, and when I was in there, I realized I something needed to change. I needed to change, and not for myself, not for anybody else, but strictly for my parents. My parents, both my mom and dad, after I got incarcerated, they would every weekend, they would go every Saturday and Sunday, every hour. They would go see me, they would visit me and stay there the 4 hours that you get for visitation. And I didn't realize how much they cared about me until I was incarcerated. That's when I realized how important I was to my parents and how much they cared for me. And so when I finally realized how important that was, I had to come to an understanding that maybe if I continue to go this wrong route, this wrong path, that it's not going to lead to anything good. And I've seen it. I've seen other friends, and I've seen other people not make it. I've seen other people get lost. Some of them died from drugs, some of them died from gang violence. So I asked myself, is that the kind of life I want for forever? and I decided to change. I'm like, okay, well, upon my release, I decided to change. I felt like, okay, I need to begin. I needed somewhere to begin. I needed somewhere to start off from. And so, upon my release, we moved out here to Palmdale. And I didn't move out here because I was in fear for my life. I didn't move out here because, you know, I was getting people were looking for me or anything like that. I moved out here because I enjoyed school. I liked school. And remind you guys, I was already kicked out of the district at 7th grade. So multiple times I tried to re-enroll myself back in. It wouldn't happen. They didn't allow it. So I felt, okay, the best way for me to go back to a school is if I move houses, if I move from the area. And that's what I did. I moved from Los Angeles to Palmdale. I've currently been living here for almost 2 years. I've been out of the system for almost 2 years. And the whole reason for me being here, for me speaking to you guys, is not to tell you guys my life story. It's not for you guys to you know, for me to glorify or let you guys know that I was this and that. It's I'm here to tell you guys that I'm here to motivate you guys. I'm here to let you guys know that whatever you guys are going through, you know, you guys can overcome the obstacles. I've seen things and I've done things that, you know, like I said, many of you guys probably haven't. You know, you guys haven't seen it, done it, been there. I get to talk from experience, you know, and this is all from experience. This is not, you know, just something I came up with and, you know, thought I would share with you guys. It's stuff that I've been through, and I've always enjoyed school. So now that I'm here at this school, I felt that it was an opportunity given to me. For me I was behind on credits, so I felt that this was an opportunity for me, and it was. I took advantage of this opportunity. I know some of us, we like to go home and not do our homework. I know some of us like to go home and play video games or go out with friends and, you know, be on our phones and stuff, and that right there, it doesn't help. You know, it doesn't help you, you know, almost finish school. You know, it doesn't help you at all. It doesn't help you with anything. You're so focused on doing, you know, whatever it is you're doing that you forget about school. And then when you come home from school, you don't really do nothing. You know, you come to school and you don't have you don't have your homework ready. Me, when I got here, every day I would go home, I would work till 3 o'clock at night, 4 o'clock at night, and I would get my homework done, so that when the next day I come into school, I have to take whatever test I take, and then I work on another credit in class, and when I go home, I do the same. And so that's what's actually gotten me closer to graduating. And it's been a long ride for me. I know a lot of you guys are here for many different reasons, whether you guys, you know, had problems at your past school, whether it was academic or you guys were fighting, you know, for whatever reason it may be. I'm here to let you guys know that, you know, you guys are here for a reason. You know, you guys are here to get some credits done, you know, to catch up on your credits. Maybe some of you guys want to go back to your regular school and you guys, you know, don't have the right amount of credits, and so you guys aren't allowed to go back to your school. Or maybe some of you guys like the school and you guys want to be here, but if you guys don't work, you guys aren't going to be, you know, you guys won't be graduating, you know.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Go ahead.
So you've been out in the valley for 2 years. Did your parents move to the Antelope Valley then?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it was family. My whole family decided to move out here.
So they moved for you?
Yeah, they moved for me.
Wow.
Thank you for pointing. They moved for me.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it was kind of a rough start when we got here. My brothers hated it. You know, my brothers and sisters, they didn't like being out here.
They lost their friends probably down below. Yeah.
Oh, I was, you know, getting the finger pointed at because, you know, they didn't like it out here. They wanted to be back with their friends and, you know, stuff like that. So eventually they ended up, you know, just appreciating it more. Just, you know, maybe they started looking at it like, okay, you know, maybe my brother could have lost his life down there. You know, maybe if we were still out there. Let me remind you guys. When I was incarcerated, I had rival gang members go look for me at my house while I'm not there. My young brothers and sisters were there, and so say anything happened to them, there wouldn't be any way for me to protect them. So that kind of also made me think, okay, is this really the kind of life I want for myself? Do I really want to get, you know, my young brothers and sisters involved in this kind of life? And I didn't. You know, I didn't want to ruin, you know, my brothers or sisters' life just because my actions, the decisions I've made. And so that's when I decided to change. I started seeing things more differently. I started aging out. I started growing out of the delinquency. And because of my experience, I felt that I had to share this with other people because, you know, maybe some of us think that, you know, oh, hanging out with friends is cool. I don't need to do my homework. Or maybe you guys are going through something at home and you guys need someone to talk to or someone who understands what you guys are going through. You know, and I'm here. You know, I'm here to speak to you guys about that because you guys aren't alone. You know, there's many people out there who go through the same thing we have. I'm sure many of you people have experienced the same thing I've experienced, you know, losing a friend, losing a family member, to gang violence, or, you know, just losing a family member. So,
Now, how many credits did you have when you came to Rex, if you don't mind me asking?
I had about 100.
About 100.
That's just
Okay.
100. So I needed 140 more maybe to
Okay.
140, 130,
And
150.
then you're about how many credits towards getting your diploma right now?
16 credits.
16 credits away from your diploma.
16, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
I know. I maybe I might have left out some things. But I think I've covered pretty much about everything. And maybe I might have, you know, left a few things out. But if there's any questions, you know, personal questions or any questions regarding, you know, anything you guys think that, you know, what made me change or anything, I'm willing, you know, to answer all questions.
Cool. Thanks, Sean.